Hey there everyone, welcome to my brand new video. My name is Anthony Avina. I am a freelance writer. I am a book blogger, book editor, book promoter, whatever, all the things you can think of. That's my day job right now. But my aspiration is to be a full-time author. If you guys have followed me at all for the last few years, you know that I am known as author Anthony Avina. I do mostly self-publishing. Unfortunately, the company I had a actual book deal with was affected by COVID, their business, and unfortunately they had to release my book along with many other authors, but thankfully they were able to edit it and provide some amazing artwork and stuff for the book, and I still got the experience of working with a publisher, even though unfortunately the pandemic kind of affected things with that. But I went ahead and they gave me permission to self-publish it myself, with our contract. So the book is Identity. If you guys have not seen it yet, it is a adult, like, kind of thriller, not adult in the sense of not erotica or anything. My definition of adult is more just, not YA, in other words. But this book was a thriller, kind of like a modern day noir kind of writing. It was a twist on the serial killer murder mystery kind of genre, and I think you guys would really enjoy it. The link for that is in my bio, in my description down below. If you guys would be so kind as to check that out, I'd really appreciate it if you guys could check the book out and tell me what you think. But that was one long intro, wasn't it? So the reason I'm here for you guys today is this is going to be the first episode in a series of videos I'm going to be releasing with multiple seasons. It's weird to think that now we're at a point at this YouTube social media stage where everyday creators can have full seasons of a certain type of video, but I guess there really is no better way of describing this. However, for now, this series, which is the whole point of this video, I keep rambling. You might notice that as this series goes on, I can ramble sometimes, so thank you, editing. Anyways, the main point of this book series, or this video series, is about a book. I don't have my official title for this series yet. I will probably have that on my thumbnail or somewhere up here in the cosmos up here. For you guys to see. But basically, this is a novel writing series in which I get into the nitty-gritty of the process of writing a novel. I have a few different projects in the air right now. I'm working on rewriting my favorite series I've ever written. It's very near and dear to my heart, and I think that I've grown as an author since I first wrote it. So I want to update that a little bit. But the book we're going to be discussing in this series, this first season of this series, is a YA fantasy sci-fi story. I'm blending a lot of things that I'm interested in theoretically in the real world, the multiverse, parallel dimensions, cryptids, that kind of thing. But it's going to be incorporated in a YA fantasy genre setting with some sci-fi elements. I'm not ready to release the title of my book because I don't think I've narrowed it down to what I want. That's something that I kind of come up with as I'm writing the story. I usually come up with a working title, kind of like movies will have an unofficial title for the movie before the official title is released. You might see that a lot with the Marvel movies. But this one, the working title is called A Dragon's Hero. So as you can tell from that title, there's going to be some sort of element with dragons in it. But I was really inspired to write a story with a very strong, powerful female protagonist who is also LGBT something I'm very passionate about. She's also Hispanic, which is a big inspiration for me for this book because I am Hispanic. For those of you who may not know, I am half Hispanic. I'm very proud of my Hispanic culture, my heritage, and especially my grandfather on my mother's side. Um, really Hispanic. His family came from Mexico, and they were immigrants here back in the 40s, 30s, and 40s. So I am very proud of that heritage, and I wanted to incorporate that at least a little bit into all my novels, but especially into this one. I've already come up with some really amazing Hispanic legends and lore to incorporate into this fantasy setting, which I'm very excited about. I don't think I've ever read this in a YA fantasy before, this particular legend. The way I'm incorporating it, I definitely have never read it before. Well, when it gets to that point and you guys are able to read this book, I hope you guys will let me know if you've ever seen this before. But I'm very excited about it, and I can't wait to share more with you about the plot of the book. It's still developing, but I've written the first 3,000 words already. I'm very excited about getting into this. I've also come up with a brand new playlist on Spotify that is the way I work my playlist for each book is I choose songs that I think will fit the narrative in that each song kind of represents either a chapter or a specific plot point in the novel, so that as you're going through the playlist, you kind of get a sense of where the novel's story is going. Obviously, it works a lot better once you purchase the book. I didn't get a chance to do that with Identity. Things have been so crazy for a lot of reasons. Everyone, of course, knows about the pandemic, and I've had my own personal stuff going on in my life, so I've been absent from YouTube for a long time. And yeah, I'm glad to be back and doing videos like this with you guys. So yeah, like I said, the book is called A Dragon's Hero. I've written the first 3,000 words. I've got my basic outline written down, and I've got the main characters that I'm going to be incorporating into this novel written out, who they are, what their personalities are like, what their role in the book is. And I'm super excited about that. I can't wait to really start getting into this, coming up with some supporting characters, coming up with all the different fairy tale fantasy elements, kind of like the creatures, the terminology, the inspiration I'm going for right now is a blend of classic European medieval style fantasy stuff blended with modern day sci-fi elements like technology, and definite fusion of Hispanic culture, mainly with the cast of characters, the protagonists especially, but also with a couple elements in the story, which I'm really excited about. And yeah, this is going to be really fun. I really am, I've evolved as a writer to the point where I used to be a plotter, like full-on plotter. If you guys don't know the terminology, there are usually plotters and pantsers. Plotters are the people, the writers, who will full-on write out every detail in their novel as right before they start writing. They want to have everything planned out. And then there are pantsers who literally fly by the seat of their pants. They write constantly. They don't plan anything out. They just let the pen flow with them. I'm kind of a mix in between the two now. I used to be a full-on plotter, but now I usually just write a basic outline of what the story is going to be, and I write out a few of the main characters that I know I want to be in the story. Then I let the story take a life of its own. I let the side characters, the backstory, the shocking events that lead to the main events I had written out, I kind of let that flow on its own. And it's a lot of fun to do it that way. It's really been enjoyable. And that's kind of what I'm doing right now. I wrote the first 3,000 words. It was originally going to be 2,000 words. But I got inspiration for a little bit of backstory for one of the main characters. I had to go back and write it. I wrote a really killer prelude in the story. I really think it sets the tone of the shock and the mystery of how the protagonist gets from point A to point B. Again, try not to give away too many details. But yeah, so far, that's my writing process. Again, this is very early on in the stage of writing this novel. But I've been wanting, this story's kind of been rattling around in my brain for a long time. If you guys haven't, I don't know if I've uploaded this yet. I don't think I've uploaded it yet. I have, besides this series, I'm going to be uploading like weekly or semi-weekly vlogs on my channel, which is just going to be my daily life, kind of what I'm doing and stuff. Whatchamacallit? Talked a little bit about this process, but this story, this inspiration came to me a couple years ago, and I've really been interested in kind of focusing all of my attention on developing a YA fantasy. I don't think I could ever go full epic fantasy, because I like the sci-fi element. I, in real life, am not a religious person. I'm a spiritual person, I guess you'd say. But I like the middle ground. I like coming to a place where science and spiritualism, nature, kind of meet in the middle. Because I think that's where the endless possibilities lie. I think that things that I enjoy, like the paranormal, UFOs, cryptids, like Bigfoot and stuff, that stuff fascinates me. If you guys don't know, I'm also a paranormal investigator, and I run a paranormal podcast and YouTube channel called Phenomenon. I'll try and include those links as well. There's so many links to remember. But that's my hobby slash potential job in the future. It's not one of those jobs that you can go right away into it making a lot of money at all. And even when you become successful at it, you're not making a ton of money. But that's okay, because the paranormal is a passion of mine, just like writing. And as long as you're able to do something you love and live comfortably, that's all that matters to me. So I'm interested in that stuff. I love that stuff. And I think that there is a science that just has not been discovered yet. It's waiting to be discovered. It's waiting for humanity to be open-minded enough to push itself to see the possibilities that lie there. I believe in the possibility of a multiverse, alternate dimensions, spaces in between those dimensions. There's so much unknowns, and things that used to be science fiction are proving each and every day when you read the news to be science fact. Not everything. Obviously, we're not, in the Jetsons. We're not living in a city in the clouds or, in jetpacks all the time. But, we're creating things that probably would have been considered science fiction or at one point even fantasy. And they're being brought to life before our eyes. So I've always been interested in that in real life. And I kind of like to take that mindset into my novels, into my work. And so I love fantasy. I love the fantasy genre. I also love the concept of trying to mesh fantasy with sci-fi and bring the two together. So that's what this novel is going to be. I'm going to kind of tell a story in which science fiction and fantasy meet in the middle, creating a world where, dragons fly around and there's ancient creatures and mythological beings, but there's also powerful technology. The citizens, have electronic devices, that kind of thing. Things you wouldn't normally see in a fantasy YA story by itself. But you combine that with sci-fi, I think you get a really interesting new story. The other thing about this novel is this is the novel I want to pitch to a literary agent. My hope is to get an agent this year, if not early next year. And from there, maybe another book publishing deal. That'd be really great. I really believe in this story. I think it's a great story to be a jumping off point, not only for more in this series, but my career in general. I really feel passionate about it. So that's what I'm going to be working on. That's what this video series is going to be all about. And I hope you guys will join me as I continue to do this. I'll try and do a weekly update kind of for the season. Each episode might not be as long as this one because I rambled a lot at the beginning and in the middle and now at the end. So there might be some shorter episodes. There might be videos that are only a couple minutes long, 5 minutes long, or maybe they're longer than this one is going to be. Who knows? So thank you guys for watching and tuning in today. I really appreciate it. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite elements of a YA, fantasy, or sci-fi novel are. What are things that you like to see be incorporated? I'm working on another series that has vampires and werewolves and all kinds of cryptological creatures that you can think of. Cryptids galore. That's my Nightmare Wars series. So that is up there. There might be some crossover as far as similar creatures, but I'm not going to be including vampires and werewolves at this stage in the series. I don't know what future books could bring, but I'm going to kind of focus on character or creatures you would not typically see in this kind of setting. So that's my plan, and I hope you guys will follow me on this journey, like I said. Please follow all my social media links and the links I mentioned earlier in the video. All of that will be down below. And I think that's it, everyone. Thank you for tuning into this first episode of whatever I'm going to be calling this. And yeah, I feel good to be back, and I feel really happy about this. I got this idea for this series from an author. I really love her work. Christine Riccio. I can never say her last name. I'm very sorry about that. But her YouTube channel is Pole and Bananas Books. I'm sure if you guys are familiar with BookTube, you guys know her channel by now. But she's been doing a book writing series herself for her book writing process. And it really inspired me because I'd love to just be open and honest and share my ongoing process with all of this. So thank you guys for tuning in. It's great to be back here on YouTube, and this video might be going up on Instagram and Facebook as well, all that. But wherever this ends up, thank you for tuning in. And I can't wait to talk to you guys next week. So thanks for hanging out. And this is author Anthony Avina, signing out.